Workshops. Deaf Empowerment Workshop, Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. A total of 44 persons attended a deaf empowerment workshop facilitated by a deaf rapper, Warren Wawa Snipe, 37 of which were members of the Barbados deaf community, 2 were team members from the US, and 5 attendees were from the UK. 26 participants were female and 18 male. Warren opened the session by talking about his own journey and transition into deaf culture growing up as hard of hearing in the United States. I was born and raised deaf, but I didn't learn how to sign until I got into university. That was like my second birth, learning about deaf culture. I'd been in hearing culture all my life, speaking, feeling like I was the only deaf person in the whole world. Learning sign language was a whole new world. Before that, I didn't know my identity. I didn't know where I belonged. All I heard was the words, hard of hearing. I thought I was the only one. I had no self-confidence because I was oppressed, because I was ignored. When I was growing up, I didn't even realize there was such a thing as a deaf school, not until I got to university, and my friends told me there's a deaf school in every single state, and I was like, really? They said, yeah, where are you from? I said, I'm from Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. They said, yeah, there's one there. I looked it up and it was literally 5 minutes away from where I lived, 5 minutes walking. I used to walk past it every day on my way to mainstream school, and I didn't even know it was there. I didn't even know what a deaf school was. No one gave information to my mom when I was growing up, so I was mainstreamed. I never saw any deaf kids. I was just in a special class, and I just thought that's how it is. But the oppression was there. You know, things like, never mind, you'll learn later. You see someone laughing and you say, what's going on? And they say, don't worry, I'll tell you later. Or, I want to be a doctor. No deaf people can't be doctors, that's impossible. Or, I want to be on TV. No, deaf people can't do that. They need to be able to communicate. That's oppression. So when you feel that oppression keep coming, but you keep getting pushed down. So what happens when deaf people get oppressed? They tend to sit back and let it happen. Does that seem fair to you? It's not. You are the CEOs of your own life. Did you know that? Everyone in here has a dream. The question is how badly you want that dream. So let me ask you a simple question. What is your dream? Participants struggle to respond. It's okay. This is why I love doing this. You're saying you don't know, but every single one of you has a dream. Every single person. What I'm asking you is, what do you want to become? I've been on TV, I'm a professional actor and professional musician. I've traveled the world, but it all started with a dream. So I want you to think about your own dreams as an individual. But I also want you to keep in the forefront of your mind that you as a community are far more powerful than you realize. You have a voice. You have to know your reasons why. As for me, I've always wanted to be involved with music. I love music. I've traveled the world, but that was a dream before any of this happened. That was a dream. I was thinking I want to do music. I want to rap. So I worked on it. I started this 30 years ago. I started dip hop. It means hip hop through deaf eyes. When I first started, I had people from the deaf community and from the hearing community mock me. They really laughed at me. They thought it was a joke. They said it was impossible. They said there's no way. They said, you can't do this. It's impossible. Deaf people don't like music. Deaf people are not supposed to be able to communicate and enjoy music. Deaf people are not supposed to be able to dance. They were throwing all that stuff at me, but then I had to make a choice. 1, I could accept what they say, or 2, change their mind. I chose to change their mind, so I knew that I would be going into a fight and that I had to prove myself. It was not about proving it to them. It was about proving it to myself, because if I proved it to myself, I've automatically proved it to you. It was about challenging myself. I had to work on it. I had to learn a lot. I failed many times. Failure is not a negative thing. Failure means, okay, I didn't succeed. What should I learn from it? How can I improve it? What worked? What didn't work? You fail, you learn, you improve, you move up. So now dip hop is all over the world. In New York City, They are building a universal hip hop museum. They are building it right now, and hip hop has an official display there. We've been officially accredited as a new music genre. 30 years I worked, 30 years people laughed and made fun of me. It was my dream. No one understood it or saw it, but I saw it because it was my dream. I worked, and then that dream became a reality for everyone to see. There's an old movie called Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. So I'm going to give you some paper, and I want you to write down your dream. I want you to write it down. You could almost feel the atmosphere in the room fundamentally shift at this point as participants organized themselves into small groups and tentatively but enthusiastically began discussing their goals and writing down their dreams. At the end of the workshops, exit interviews were conducted with as many of the attendees as possible. How did you find the workshop? Many respondents gave one word, but positive responses: amazing, life-changing, brilliant, and some were happy to provide more in-depth and specific feedback. It opened my mind and it changed my life. I went for the first time. I met some people. We need to go on with this. We don't have to stop here, and we need to continue doing this. We need more deaf people involved in music and steel pan. We don't need to quit. We need to keep on going. I was so happy that Wawa was here. We need to support the deaf and their dreams, what they want to become, and my dream would be to become a nurse. I'm going to try and do it. I'm going to try my best. It was wonderful. We need someone like that to encourage the deaf. He's a good example. I really enjoyed his workshop. He was positive in what he said. What he's saying, deaf in Barbados need to stand up. Come out. I believe he set a good example for the deaf community. I think he should come back to Barbados to give us more. That is too short. It should be more. I'd enjoy that. We need more of that. Deaf Awareness Workshop. Approximately 60 persons attended a Deaf Awareness Workshop facilitated by Bonnie Leonce of Signature Interpretations. Bonnie is a qualified interpreter and well regarded for her work on the island as a key ally for the deaf community. Bonnie is best known for her role as interpreter for Prime Minister Mia Mottley and CBC TV News. The workshop was aimed at professionals from local businesses and focused on increasing awareness and understanding about the deaf community. During the workshop, attendees were asked to contemplate whether they saw deaf people as their equals socially, educationally, and professionally. Members of the deaf community were invited to share their experiences of navigating the benefit systems, navigating education, lack of qualifications, employment, and some of the barriers they experienced. The need for visual signage in the workplace, making spaces accessible to members of the deaf community, the importance of sign language, public and professional attitudes towards the deaf, inequality, lack of access in the workplace, hearing privilege, and how to utilize this to the benefit of the deaf community were some of the themes explored. 30 workshop attendees completed feedback questionnaires. Respondents were asked to indicate their level of deaf awareness prior to attending the workshop on a scale from 0 to 10, their reasons for attending, what they were hoping to learn, what they did learn, and what they might do differently moving forward. What did you learn? How difficult it is to grow up deaf in Barbados. Opinions like their brains are not so good, or you can't hear so you can't drive, are nonsense. I also learned about how technology is making it easier to help and serve the deaf community. Deaf people have it way more difficult than I thought. Sometimes only simple changes are needed to make a big difference. Education for the deaf needs to be reviewed. I was not aware that education was so inaccessible to the deaf community. I have always thought that education was very good here in Barbados. Above average, but today challenged that because our education system is not accessible, qualifications are not accessible to the deaf community. I truly understood the many challenges faced by the deaf. I also learned not to use the term hearing impaired, and that there are not many policies protecting the rights and education of deaf people in Barbados. This has to change.